This episode is brought to you by Naked Fig Soap. Shop over a dozen handcrafted artisan soaps locally sourced and made in Arizona using the finest non-toxic intentional ingredients. Naked Fig Soap also offers facial care products along with accessories like soap dishes, soap saver bags, and more.
Visit their website at nakedfigsoap.com and use code DRUMMINGUP, all one word, for 20% off online orders. And that is the best place to find her now.
Yes.
She doesn't really have a storefront so much as she has
As of right now.
Yeah, as of right now,
Yes.
she has her products in certain locations,
Yes.
which again is the best place to find her is at her nakedfigsoap.com website.
Yes.
Or her socials. Instagram is a great spot to find her. Ask her any questions where she's going to be at like a farmer's market.
Yes.
You can find all that out. Or
But coming up, she's
Yeah.
moving to bigger and better opportunities.
Yes, absolutely. And we're very happy to hear that because,
Yes.
we just want to
She's
make
one
sure
of our
she's doing
favorite,
okay.
favorite companies.
Oh, yeah. Whenever we're getting low, we always place our order.
Yes.
And again, use that code drumming up,
Yes.
all one word, to get that 20% off discount.
For sure.
nakedfigsoap.com. It'll be in the show notes. We'll have her website. And then the best thing to do is from the website, go find her socials, follow her. That helps her. And by you doing that, it helps us because we know you're listening and we know you're buying her great products. She also offers tattoo care and everything too.
Yes,
so
she does.
just a ton of stuff that she does. It's all locally made and everything. So what was that website again?
That is nakedfigsoap.com.
Using code drumming
Drumming
up,
Up.
all one word, for 20% off at checkout.
Hi there, this is Julian of Gorad, and you are listening to Drumming Up Conversation. Hell yeah.
Drumming up conversation. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Conversation. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Conversation. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Conversation. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Conversation. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Drumming Up Conversation. I'm Justin Wood.
I'm Andrea Wood. Intro and outro music is provided by Arizona prog metal band Temporal Displacement. You can find their music anywhere you listen to your favorite music. Don't forget to check out their latest album. If you have any questions, email us at drummingupconversation@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Drumming Up Conversation and on X at Drum Conversing. Listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can catch the video podcasts on YouTube. Don't forget to download episodes, subscribe, like, and give us a 5-star rating and review, and tell a friend.
Yep. Tell a friend.
Thank you.
Tell many
Please and
friends.
thank you.
Yeah. So today we're having Barb, Elizabeth, and Jan from Four Tails Winery on. It's something we've been getting set up for a while, and we're glad we're finally getting them on. It's going to be a lot of fun to talk wine again. It's been a little while since we've done that, and their stuff is just awesome.
Yep.
They do a lot more single varietals, which I like as well, other than, the mixed ones too. But either way is good. It's all Arizona wine, but I do just like hearing more about the single varietals because it's a little trickier sometimes to do that because it has to be just perfect.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And just in case I forget while we're doing it, Kale and Barb are the owners of it. They started it many years ago. We'll find out a lot more about it here coming up soon. We just send the invites to them, and we're just waiting for them to respond and come on. So we will get to that here in a minute or so. All right. Today we are joined by Barb, Elizabeth, and Jan from Four Tails Winery. How's everyone doing today?
Well, how about you?
Awesome. Doing well. All right. So I guess the first question is, what inspired you to start a winery and a vineyard?
Well, I don't know if there was inspiration in it. So the property you can see kind of behind us, hopefully the wind isn't too
Beautiful.
loud with the speaker. It was Kale's, my husband Kale's, I can't see here. It was my husband Kale's grandparents' property. So they had just a little hobby cattle ranch. So they moved out here after they retired from back east. And so Kale's had been coming down here for about 20 years. We knew that there was grapes grown, and once they had passed away, the property was for sale. And so we thought we went up to Cottonwood, did some wine tasting, met Sam Pillsbury, Shout out to Sam who said, oh, it's easy. You guys should just buy that place and build a vineyard. So here we are.
Famous
so that was
last words,
yeah,
because that
right.
is
Yeah, he
not
said he didn't
easy.
say easy, but I know that's what he said. So we love this property so much. So we that was December of 2012. And by May of 2013, we had purchased the property and planted our first 300 vines. So it was really more of our love for, we loved wine, we loved this property, and we needed something kind of extra to do. So here we are. We became farmers overnight. I didn't realize that. Kale did.
Nice. What's the mountain range behind you?
So the mountain range back here, you probably can't see exactly all the way back there, but the Chiricahuas are back
Okay,
there.
okay.
And
Nice.
then
That's
in
what I
front of
thought.
us,
Okay.
we have the Cochise Stronghold, so the Dragoon
Okay.
Mountains.
Nice, nice, awesome. And when did you, so you started when did you officially start like really farming the grapes?
2013. So we
2013?
planted, 300 cab vines right behind the house.
Okay.
And then 2014, we did another 3,200 vines. So that was kind of our big planting.
Okay.
And by 2016, we were all estate. So in 2013, we actually bought local fruit. We bought it from Sam.
Okay.
And then for a couple of years after that, we bought it from Sam and from Zarpara just to start our brand. So
Sure.
we've always done all local fruit. We've never gone outside of Arizona.
Thank you.
Very
We
cool.
appreciate that.
Yeah, right.
And was it all cab or was it different grapes?
No, different grapes. We started with Cab, those
Mhm.
300, and then we've got Petit Syrah, Petit Verdot,
Mhm.
Tempranillo, and Viognier for our white.
Okay.
Awesome.
And then we've
Yeah.
expanded. So in 2020, we expanded. So we've got 10 acres under vine now, all the same fruit.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
And where did the name come from?
Well, we had 4 dogs, and so we just thought we would name it Four Tails. We thought, our love of dogs and wine would go well together. It would be a good branding, and so all of our labels have our dogs on them.
Oh, that looks so good.
I know.
So
So,
a little personalized.
so Barb and Jan, what was your experience with winemaking prior?
0. Jan, you want to go?
Zero. Zero. In
And-
fact, if I had any element of exposure to it, it would have come through Barb and Kale. But even to date, that's been very limited. We talk about the process, but I have really not been a part of it and had my hands on it.
And Elizabeth, how about you?
It's been a journey. I did some winemaking at home when I was
Okay.
getting curious, right? You buy the 5-gallon buckets
Right.
of grapes and you ferment it, see what happens. But it wasn't really until I quit engineering to go to school for it that I kind of went all for. So
Where'd you go to school?
I went up to Yavapai.
Okay.
So it was a bit of a career change. I'd already
Mhm.
gotten degrees and
Mhm.
fell in love with the vineyards in Sonoyta, of course,
Mhm.
And yeah.
Are you from here?
No, I'm from Colorado originally.
Colorado. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And Jan, where are you from originally?
I'm originally from California. I was born and raised in
Okay.
the Bay Area, and I've been in Arizona about 7.5 years now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Question for you, though.
Okay.
Does having a passion for wine and drinking wine count as winemaking?
Absolutely. We consider our winemakers. Absolutely. We make wine go into the glass. So yeah.
There you
And
go.
then make it disappear.
Yeah.
Exactly what I was thinking. So I have to change my answer.
Very cool. And
Barb, are you from Arizona?
Me, pretty much. I was born in California. I moved here when I was like 3. So
gotcha.
for the most part, grew up in Chandler.
Same. What part?
What part of Chandler?
Yeah.
Like right around Knox Road, in between like Ray and Alma School.
Okay. I lived
You're right around Ray and Alma School. I'm sorry.
Park
those-
Promenade right near there. So I went to Corona del Sol. So
Okay,
yeah.
I went to Chandler High. The
okay.
original. When I went to high school, not to share my age, there was only one high school. It was Chandler High.
Mine was technically Tempe anyway, but it was
Yeah, I
like
was gonna say you're in Tempe. We didn't really
Yeah.
like you guys.
It's okay. We had a better drum line.
I think we had a better football team, but I'm not sure about that back
You
then. I think
did,
they
you
have
did,
one
but
better. They have a good
we
one now.
yeah, our drum line was good, but your football team was much better. You kicked our asses all the time, so and I'm
Yeah.
fine with that because I didn't play football there, so it's all good. So there was already an established vineyard more or less there.
No. We
No,
planted
not at all.
everything.
Oh,
So
Oh,
okay.
yeah, no.
okay.
So we did all of the work. We dug every single hole. We put up every line post. Kale and I put up 768 line posts in one weekend. We remained married, which
You just
was a
started on
challenge.
opposite sides of the
Yeah.
No, no,
vineyard and
no.
worked your way towards each other.
No. It was a whole process.
No, I'm kidding.
But yeah, so we did all there's a mile of drip line out there just in the first few blocks that we did.
Okay.
So yeah, we put all the infrastructure in. There was his grandfather had always said, if you want to come plant vines, you can. And we were like, what are we going to do? Just we're going to drive back and forth. We can't take care of it.
Right.
So it feels like he's the one that made us do this. Ultimately, put the idea in our head.
Nice.
So was there a home on the property already?
Yep. Yep.
Is
Yeah,
it,
there's a
did you
house
turn
and
that
a
into
barn.
your tasting room?
No. The tasting room that Jan is running is in Sonoyta. We'll tell you all about that. But we have always just done tastings in the winery, just
Mhm.
by appointment. Even before we had a winery building, if someone wanted to come by, they could call us. But so we had a house and just a barn, and that was it. And then we had all the land cleared. There was just a lot of like yucca and mesquites and things like that. And then in 17 is when we built the winery. We expanded it last year. And there's not a lot of traffic. So, we're in Pierce. We're, a good 30 minutes from Wilcox. And so we're a little off the beaten path, a lot probably. So we just felt like to put a true tasting room here wasn't really going to be worth the money, the effort, right, to have it staffed and things like that. So people can still come by if they want to, if they call first. They make an appointment in advance, and we can if sometimes open up if we're around. So yeah.
Very cool. And do you do tours as well at the vineyard?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Cool. It's awesome.
Yeah.
We do
Now,
harvest host right now. So if anyone, wants to come and bring their RV down, we do that too.
That's cool.
are you making wine on a daily basis, Elizabeth?
So that's kind of an interesting question. So usually we'll harvest fruit kind of between August through September. But then throughout the rest of the year, it's really just maintenance and blending and sampling and doing anything we need to really kind of help the wine age as best it can.
Mhm.
So I'm constantly, sesampling it, seeing how it's
Oh,
going.
darn.
Yeah, I know. It's a really rough job.
If you need help, I mean, we could always drive down and
I know,
help.
right?
So.
Yeah, I could use all the help I can get, right? So it really is kind of a year long, but it's just different, a little bit less hands-on compared to harvest for sure, but it's fun.
Is there a part you enjoy the most about doing that?
Harvest
Harvest?
tends to be
Okay.
my favorite. Yeah, just
Okay.
because of the fermentation. I love seeing
hmm
something come alive. I love seeing it, just really bring out what the terroir is here. And
hmm
we have some great product to work with. So it's
Yeah,
a really cool experience.
definitely do. And has engineering helped kind of with you doing that?
The math has, yeah, I actually have
Yeah.
degrees in math, so that
Okay,
helps.
perfect.
A lot of conversions.
hmm
But I think it's just that mixture of science and art that I
hmm
love so much about it, right? Because
Yeah.
science can only take you so far, and then you really have to like trust your palate and trust your instinct. So
Sure.
that's like the beauty of winemaking that I love.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. And are there any grapes that you favor over others?
I mean, the Viognier is always fun.
Oh, it's
I
so
really like
good.
that one. It's a really nice white. I think it grows really well here. We have some beautiful wine coming off of it.
Mhm.
And then it's just totally different from the reds too. So it's kind of like the question of what's your favorite wine, and it just depends on the day.
Yeah.
Really.
Are there any grapes that you haven't used yet that you want to try sometime?
A lot. I'm
Okay.
hoping to get Barbera. That might be a
Okay.
lot of fun. I think
Okay.
that's a really easy drinking red. It would have to be all kind of like office state
hmm
potentially.
Okay.
But that's just, as we go. I'm pretty
Yeah.
happy with what's here.
Have you tried any Montepulcianos at all yet?
Yes, those are
Okay.
always
Awesome.
classic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
One of
That
our favorites.
Aglianico, I'd love to get my
Yeah.
hands on those. Those are
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Graciano and
Do you like Graciano?
Gracianos are great. Montepulcianos are probably two of our
They're
favorites.
solid. They're solid wines.
And they survive well out here, and they don't a lot of other places, which
They
is
do.
good.
You need that
So,
hot climate, and then
yeah,
especially when we get close to harvest, you have
Mhm.
monsoons come in.
yeah,
So everyone's always blown by that, right? It's like, what's
yeah,
your biggest struggle growing grapes in the desert? And it's the water. Right when we're harvesting, we have too much because the
yeah,
rain.
yeah.
So it's finding that kind of, I don't know, grape that can do a little bit of everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
For sure.
think rain is supposed to start next week. I think we
Yeah.
have rain on the schedule for 4th of July. So how does that affect what you're doing right now?
Right now on the winery, not too much. I'm just getting some barrels prepped for harvest. We're slowly starting to clean equipment and really kind of get in. So it's a good time for rain between the vineyard and the winery, actually. So
Yeah, we want the
Bring
rain.
it.
Yeah, we want the rain right now. We don't want it, like to Elizabeth's point, right as we're getting ready to harvest.
Mhm.
That messes with the sugars, if you get too much. So now is a great time. If it could
Mhm.
rain, a good amount in July and then just stop in August, that would be great.
Yeah.
If anyone's listening, if the rain god, rain god, anybody.
Does monsoon like how are your feelings with the good monsoon season and a drier monsoon season with how the grapes go and how they grow and are bottled and everything?
I think so I mean I prefer a drier season because
Okay.
you can water, right? So if you
Hmm.
don't have monsoons, you can water. The risk that I've seen, and please weigh in, is that things ripen very quickly.
Mhm.
And if you don't get them off the vine, then they'll start to dry out.
Hmm.
So it's like you can put water, but once it gets too hot, so like 2020 is a really good example. Very hot, zero rain, like zero rain. I
Yeah,
think I don't
I
think we had
remember.
an inch.
Yeah.
And so it was actually okay on our production,
Hmm.
but it was very fast. Like one day the VO was almost ready, and the next day it was almost too much,
Oh,
right?
wow.
Because
So
21 was a big monsoon season, I
and
remember. It was
21 was
very wet.
very rough because
Yeah.
it never dried out.
Yeah.
You weren't here in 21.
no.
Oh man, it
But
was
it rained,
yeah.
rained, and
Hmm.
then like the sun wouldn't even come out, and then it would
Hmm.
rain again. And so that is a big risk of you're not going to get your sugars high enough because
Hmm.
and there's now they're going to start to rot. So you've got to
Yeah.
get them off the vine before the sugars are there. And we definitely witnessed that our alcohol level in the
Hmm.
21s is much lower than we wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And that was because either you let it rot or you take it off.
Yeah. And do the
Wow.
whites or reds do have different reactions to the monsoon?
They do. So a really good example, so Tempranillo,
Hmm.
that's kind of a notorious grape for having a lot of potassium, which changes the acidity in
Hmm.
wine, right? And so
Yeah.
from a winemaker's perspective, that's one you have to pay a lot more attention to. So when you get heavy rains, that's going to wash in to the soil and the wine's going to uptake that, right?
Hmm.
So I have to do something maybe a little bit more different to that varietal than I would other ones. So just being aware of like, did it rain yesterday? Are we harvesting today? What's going on with the vine
Yeah.
before it even comes to the winery? That's kind of what I focus on.
Now, because I assume you actually taste the grapes right off the vine too. Can you tell from that sometimes that you can take those off the vine then? Right
Yeah, so
away?
we
Okay.
actually, what I like to do is I'll taste the grapes even before veraison. I like to test for other things that's going on with them, acidities. But once we start getting close to harvest, I won't rely so much on the refractometer. It's a way to measure sugar.
Hmm.
But I'll actually taste it. I'll look at what the texture of the seeds are doing. Are they brown? Are they still green? I'll look at the skin color. I'll look at the juice flavors, right? Are we aromatically there? Does it
Hmm.
taste right? And so that's where that science versus art kind of comes in. At some point, you got to put like the science down for a minute and
Yeah.
actually taste the fruit.
Yeah.
So yeah, mix of both.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, that's really
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, because we found out doing this that you can taste it right off the vine and it'll kind of tell you what it's doing, which is really cool too. So
absolutely. Yeah, it's
because
the best way to
sometimes
do it.
yeah, because I assume sometimes that you can't rely on the harvest season so much. You got to just go, like you said, with the art of it and just taste it and go, no, this is good to go. We should probably get this done now and not let's not wait, kind of a
Right.
thing.
Well, even holistically too, because like we have like our north end of the
Hmm.
vineyard, that'll have different sugars for the same varietal compared to the south end. So you have to taste both ends and then kind of gauge like a holistic, how's it going to come together? So yeah, that's fun. It's a good job.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't complain.
Grapes,
That's for
drink
sure.
wine. It's a rough life.
Exactly. It is very tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys go out and handpick your grapes?
We do. Yes, we usually get a crew that comes in and does it. They're much faster than us. They're professionals, really. But yes, it's all handpicked. We don't have a machine yet.
Do you do it super early in the morning?
Very early, yeah. But we usually have the crew come at like 5 a.m. So we're
Mhm.
usually up by 4. I mean, Elizabeth is here.
I'm here at
earlier
like
than that.
3:30
Yeah.
on harvest day.
She's here earlier than that, but yeah. And it's definitely a fun time. I would agree that it's my favorite time of year, but it's, they're long days, it's 3:30 in the morning until 10 o'clock at night sometimes. It depends on what we're doing. Are we just harvesting? Are we also pressing something? Kind of what's going on. And then the cleaning is extreme.
It's 90% cleaning. That's winemaking.
Yeah, for
Really.
sure. And do you just do single varietals or do you do some blends as well?
Yeah, we have just singles right now,
Mhm.
but our rosé is a blend. And then we have a Chardonnay Viognier coming soon, and that's going to be great. The Chardonnay we bought from Carlson Creek, so
Okay.
local,
Yeah.
but not 100% estate, and that's fantastic. We're just waiting to get a label on that, and we've got just a straight Chardonnay. But we intended to do blends when we first started. That was what we wanted to do. It's why we planted Petit Verdot.
Mhm.
And then number one, there's not a lot of volume, so it almost didn't make sense to do a blend. And we loved everything on its own.
Mhm.
And so we were like, okay, well, now as we get more volume, we would love to do a red blend. So we're working on that.
I have
Yeah,
ideas.
I mean, and it's
Yeah, ideas.
it's in my opinion, it's good to have both because it is nice for wine people that consume the wine to be able to taste just the individual grapes and how they are on their own, because that I think can help someone's palate too and know what they like. So if they see a blend of, let's say they like these 3 single varietals, like, well, I see it in a blend, I know I like those 3, so now I know I like that blend. So I think that's very helpful too with the consumer palate, because we've had a lot of wineries out here that were single varietal, and that's how we learned we like the Montepulciano and the Gracianos and stuff like that. So, or the Grenache and everything else. So when we see that in a blend, we're like, okay, we like all 3 of those, so we're definitely going to get that,
Yeah.
So,
Jan, let me ask you. I mean, I'm asking Jan, but
oh, you're good.
being in the tasting room now, I know that in Sonoyta specifically, there's a lot of people that do a lot of blends. What does the customer say? Like, what do your customers say about just having a lot of single varietals? Do they like that? Are
They
asking
love it. They love it. And that's one of the things that really separates Four Tails from a lot of the other wineries in the areas. And we're proud to talk about the fact that currently the menu, with the exception of the rosé, is all single varietals. It's interesting because Barb made mention of Petit Verdot, and Petit Verdot is one that you really find more often in a blend than as a
Mhm.
single varietal. And it is currently our top selling red. So I think that that's testimony to the fact that people really enjoy these.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, they're all great. I mean, the Tempranillo really sticks out to me as well, but I mean, yeah, I just love the single varietals too because, like I said, it's just a good palate cleanser too. Because so many do blends. It's nice to just have that single varietal every once in a while too. So
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate you guys are doing that. And then the Viognier is
So good.
out of this world.
So good.
Yeah,
I have some in my glass right now. Sorry.
I know. We saw that. It's not
we
fair.
didn't have a chance to get up to Divine
I know.
yesterday.
I thought about it yesterday and I was like, oh, I hope they ran over there. And so we'll make sure that we get you some.
Oh, you're good. No, I started a new job recently, so we get out of work a lot later.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we just
Dang
don't have
it.
time to get out there. Yeah. So
Well, I'm going to Divine in Chandler, downtown Chandler. Maybe shout out to them. They're
yes.
awesome.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
We're
we're gonna be
delivering
there.
some more to them on Tuesday.
Oh, nice. We're
Thursday.
yeah, we're going Thursday, so we gotta get stocked up for 4th of July weekend.
Yeah.
So
Okay, well,
yeah.
you'll have some new stuff. You'll also have, just so we can put it out there, they're gonna get our new Double Trouble
Ooh.
22.
Ooh.
So I'm delivering that. So make sure if they don't have that one on the shelf that you ask Andrew for it.
We will. We
The
will.
22. Okay.
And so talked about monsoon and all that. So what type of barrels do you typically use?
We have a mix of French and American.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of both. It just depends on the variety, kind of
Mhm.
where their state is. So a lot of barrels, the amount of oak that you get from it
Mhm.
decreases each
Mhm.
year. So we kind of just rotate through getting some new recoopered ones, but really French and American.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long do you usually use those for before you
It
need to?
depends. We have some from 2009.
Wow.
Wow.
They're very neutral, so you're not going to
Yeah.
get a lot of oak properties from it, but they make for great
Mhm.
barrel fermentations. Yeah.
Okay.
What's the aging process on your barreling?
For the red wines, at least 18 months, if not longer. It depends on really the wine too. If it's ready, we'll bottle it. I'm
Mhm.
not stuck to a hard date. With the whites, we do a little bit earlier just because they're fresher and we want that vibrant kind of flavor and aroma to get out to the consumers. So,
Yeah. And what profile do you typically look for when you're tasting before like you start bottling and all that?
just does it feel like it's there? Does it come
Yeah.
together well? What's the
Hmm.
acidity? What's the tannins? What's the flavor? Does it need more time in oak or less? It's really the overall balance and structure of the wine before I give the thumbs up to say, I think this is good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, a
Okay.
little bit of
Nice.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, before you bottle it, do you all get together and have a little tasting?
I'll definitely leave
Yeah.
samples for Barb and Kale too
Yeah.
to try and make sure they love it because
Yeah.
nothing gets out the door if they don't love
For
it,
sure. Yeah.
They're the number one. But yeah.
Yeah.
And as consumers, how long is it like, should you keep the bottles for a while or should you drink them immediately when you get them? How do you guys feel about like aging the
You can
wine?
drink them as soon as they're released. We like to give
Mhm.
a wine where, even if it's early, you can still drink it and enjoy
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
Whites you typically want to consume, within like a year to 3 years. Same with the rosé. The reds you can age longer for sure. So just depends on the style.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we really want to make sure that when we release something that someone could just go home and open it right then.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't want to say like, oh, you need to sell her this for, 6 months
Yeah.
or whatever. We certainly can, but our intent is if you're having a 4th of July party and you want to have
Yeah.
some wine, you're good.
Yeah, because I think that's a common misconception is people like, oh, age is better and all that, the longer you go, and it's like that's not always the case anymore,
No. No, some wines will
So
actually peak too. You can age too long and then
yep,
you lose all that quality of it.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
just drink it,
exactly,
enjoy it, have a good time.
exactly, yep, and that's what we early on, that's what we learned, and we're like, yeah, well, that's fine with us. We'll definitely, consume it as quick as possible. So, all right, Jan. So how has the tasting room been? I know that's fairly recent. How's that been for you?
It's been good.
Good.
We've been open, I think it was 4 months
Hmm.
yesterday.
Wow.
And, before we opened, we tried to participate in different events with other tasting rooms just to help the locals develop a level of familiarity with the brand, give them a feel for what to expect from the tasting room, etc. But things have gone really well. We've done, I couldn't even hazard a guess in terms of the number of tasting. I- If I'm a betting person, it's probably about 1,000 since
Nice.
we opened. And the great news is that everybody really loves the wine. So I have shared this with Barb and Kale before, but I would say that probably more than 90% of the people that taste go home with a bottle or two or
Good.
seven. So, it's goodness.
Yes. Yeah. And do you get like repeat customers and everything too? Have you gotten people to come back and you recognize them and all that?
Yeah, absolutely. We
Yeah.
have we have a number of locals that
Hmm.
make us part of their routine, be it once a week or every couple of weeks. But we have a lot of people come in from Tucson and Vail, and even these folks are beginning to develop as repeat customers. And I expect that that will continue, so we'll have more and more over time.
Yeah, for sure. And do you offer food there?
Yes.
Awesome.
Oh,
What
good.
what do you what kind of is it like charcuterie stuff or is it like
We have a
what?
charcuterie board on the
Okay.
menu, yeah, but
Mhm.
it's small plates,
Okay.
so charcuterie, different spreads, couple of bruschettas,
Mhm.
etc. And then I also do flatbreads. The
Oh,
idea
nice.
is that we wanted to offer food that would pair well with the wine that's being served.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's really important. And yeah, because again, the whole palate thing, you want to serve foods that, like olives are always good with that, have same acidity but different flavor, certain breads and all that. So that's
Now,
Absolutely.
cheeses, of course. Yeah.
Absolutely.
with the tasting room, was that an established building or did you build?
No, that was an established building. It's kind of an interesting story. Actually, I'm in a complex that, oh, about the turn of the century, right? That sounds funny to say, but it was about the turn of the century. Was built then. It was 8 office suites. And at some point in time, somebody convinced the owner to combine 2 suites. One side would be the eating area, the other is a commercial kitchen. And so when we were looking for spots, we knew we wanted to open the tasting room in the Sonoyta area. I call it the Elgin Sonoyta Loop, and there's a number of wineries and tasting rooms that are part of that. But we also wanted to make sure we had a kitchen because it was so important to us to serve food for the reasons that you've already stated. Food can really change your experience with the wine and vice versa, right?
Yeah. Well, because like when we had Andrew on from Divine, he even mentioned that when he would go to like Europe and stuff, he'd tell people, "Oh, we just drink wine and just drink it." And they're like, "You don't eat when you drink wine?" And they couldn't even fathom not eating while you're drinking wine. So, that's super important, especially with where wine started in Europe and everything, and then the way we consume it here. So it's good to teach people that this is what pairs well with this and that, and you can pair different foods with whites and different foods with reds and everything. So, that's just as important as the wine itself, too, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And as far as the flatbreads go, I always have a recommended pairing. It's recommended at the end
Hmm.
of the day, people are going to order the wine that they want to drink, but it lends itself to a lot of conversation because people want to know, to your earlier point, why this with this.
Hmm.
And so it's an opportunity to, again, kind of further educate them on what you can do with wine and food combined.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we
And
first when
mhm.
we first started doing festivals a long time ago, we always served, and I know you don't have this there, Jan, and I don't even know if it's the same because the wine has changed a bit, but we used to always serve, I don't know if you remember, you might remember this, Jan, macadamia nuts with the Viognier.
I can
And
see
a
that.
friend of ours that was a chef in his former life recommended that. We sent him some wine and he was like, here's some good pairings. And it was amazing to people how much you take a drink and then you take a macadamia nut and then drink and then another sip and how much it changed it. So I assume that it's the same with all the things that you're doing there, Jan.
Yeah, very much so. And we tested all the recipes to make sure that the pairings were on par. So, we had to eat the food and oh yeah, we had to taste the wines.
Damn, that
Hated it.
sucks.
Yeah.
But
The
again,
hard part.
we're all about the experience that the customer has, so we want to make sure that it's a good one all the way around.
Yeah. And when Jan, when you were in California, did you have a lot of wine while you were there?
Oh yeah. Oh
How,
yeah.
how do you feel about the wine here as compared to
Yeah, the
there?
difference between Arizona and California.
Oh my God. Well, so, I was relatively close to the Napa Valley as well as some of the wine regions in Livermore and even in the Santa Cruz Mountains and so on. And of course, over time, it just continued to grow and grow. When I first heard about people growing grapes in Arizona to make wine, it was my husband that shared it with me. And I just looked at him like, Arizona? Are you kidding me? Because it's really easy to become I'll call it a wine snub when
Mhm.
you live in near wine country in California. But suffice to say, and this is a big part of how we met Barb and Kale, but when I first tasted Arizona wines, it was actually Four Tails that we found in a little market. And we're dog people. The label got my attention. We had a name in common. But I quickly changed my opinion. And so now I'm obviously very big on Arizona wines. And the thing that I share with people is that it's different. You're not going to get California wine in Arizona, right? The climate is different, the soil, the elevation. And, like Elizabeth was talking about earlier, there's so many things that affect the taste of the wine. And so it's a matter of changing your thinking.
Mhm.
So yeah, I was a California wine snob, but I'm proud of the fact that I am now intent on Arizona wines and truly enjoy them. I drink more than my fair share.
So do we.
See, we
Good.
lived in San Luis Obispo County, so there's
Ah,
wine everywhere there. Now,
yes.
California whites I cannot drink because I can't get past the smell. Every Arizona white I've tried is absolutely delicious and smells good.
Yeah,
It's so weird.
I wasn't a big fan. Well, and in California, it's all about the buttery shards. And
Oh
so
yeah, yeah, yeah.
when I heard that Barb and Kale had bought some Chardonnay grapes, and the first thing I said was, "Is it going to be buttery?" And they assured me it is not. And Elizabeth is shaking her head. So, but people, even when I share with them what's coming, down the road here, they'll ask similar question: "Is it going to be buttery?" Right? And it's like, "Oh no, no, I've been assured that it is
Yeah.
not." So,
It'll change your life actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially
yes.
the Viognier too.
Oh.
A lot of people don't even know about that grape so much, and it's
Yeah.
like I mean, I'm so glad that we're making it here because it is the best. I'll drink that. I'm not a big white person,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but I will drink that all the time, especially in the summer. Just put it in the fridge, put a
Mhm.
Yeah.
couple ice cubes in there, and then it's just perfect. So
We'll cover our ears when you say ice cubes because
Yeah.
you don't want to dilute the wine, but
they're
love it.
little tiny ice cubes, and sometimes I'll even use like the whiskey stones, and I'll do that instead. Whether
There you
we
go.
freeze
Better.
those and do
Do
that.
that better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or the
We do
plastic ice cubes with frozen water in them.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna
For sure.
we're helping you out here, Justin. We're making sure
Okay.
that you don't dilute the wine. We do call the Viognier the white wine for red wine drinkers, and there's a reason for
Absolutely.
Yes.
that. It's
Oh,
because
that's
it is
funny.
so different, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And by
It's
the way, we only planted it because those vines were available, and we didn't want to plant the same white grape that everybody else was
Mhm.
planting. There's a lot of Malvasia Bianca, and everybody had that. We were like, we don't want to get the same thing. We had
yeah.
no idea what the Viognier was, so.
It's a
Yeah.
good risk.
It was a
Good
good risk.
gamble.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't, it might have been James Callahan that said, go for the Viognier, but I'll give him credit for that. It could have been our decision too.
So, what have you learned the most from like the surrounding wineries you've been working with and everything? Have they taught you some pretty important things too, especially early on?
Early on, for sure, yeah. When we first started, we didn't know what we were doing. Kale, he sold his Corvette, we bought a tractor, and we just came down here. So we didn't know what we didn't know. So before we even closed on the property, we reached out to several people. Bobby Carlson, Mark at Zarpara. Those are probably the two. Sam a little bit. That we talked to just get their opinions, like
Mhm.
what works, what doesn't work, what's your experience. We met James Callahan. He was our first winemaker. He has Rune. So we just talked to people, and then we kind of did what we wanted to do, right? We took a little bit of their input and then made a decision based on what we thought was right for us. So it was a great learning experience. We ran into James because he was working at the crush facility at Aridus at the time. By
Okay.
the time we got fruit, he wasn't working there anymore, but he still made our wine along with his. And so, he kind of brought us along on the journey. He found our next winemaker, and so forth. And we're so happy to have Elizabeth, by the way. She's the best one we've had.
Yeah.
James is great. We only had him for a couple of years. He got very busy.
And yeah, because that's a big difference here as opposed to other places too, is everyone works together here.
Very much.
Everyone helps each other out, and
Yes.
no one's like gonna try and sabotage the other winery like they do in other places and stuff. We're a big community here, even up in like Verde Valley, all the way where you guys are and everything.
Yep.
Just everyone works together. So, or Cottonwood and all that. Everyone we've talked to, if we haven't even had them on this, just going to the tasting rooms and stuff and talking to them, they're like, "Oh no, we've worked with, like they even bring up like Maynard James Keenan, and like we worked with him early on, and he helped us a lot. He let us use his facility and he taught us how to barrel things and when to taste them and how to taste them, and then you guys talking about Callahan and all that other stuff. It's like, yeah, everyone works together here, which is great. So
Yeah, it's a great community. You could call anyone. We work a lot with Carlson where
Mhm.
we had a pump break when we were in the middle of bottling.
Oh,
And
boy.
so we need the pump. So we did some, what do you call it? What did you call it?
Last minute calls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Matt. Yeah. We need a pump,
Oh,
but we ended up gravity filling some wine, which was kind of cool, right? It's like you don't have a pump that works. So what can you do to keep going?
So
But
what
yeah,
is
it's a
what
great
is
community.
gravity filling?
What we did here is we put the barrel on a forklift and lifted it
Okay.
up, and then you
Okay.
siphon it out into the filler. So
Okay.
you don't need a pump at all. So it's actually pretty gentle on the wine. It's a really good way to
Right.
put
Yeah.
it. But it's something like we wouldn't have naturally done had the pump not road, right? So
Did
it's
you-
like that. How do you be on your toes and make something? Is that the
Did-
double trouble?
Did you notice a
Double trouble.
difference in taste doing it that way?
A little bit. I think you can preserve a lot more aromatics too. I think because you're not as harsh, you're not introducing as much oxygen into the wine. But it's just, it depends. Yeah.
So do you think that'll be something you'll do again?
Probably not that setup.
Barb's shaking her head.
Oh.
It's a great story. It's
It's a good story.
the imagery of it comes back loving.
Yeah, if you go back on our Instagram, you can probably see a few images of it.
Okay.
Jan, I mean, in that whole Sonoyta Elgin area though, right? I mean, you guys are all like chatting and sending customers everyone's way, right?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I was going to chime in and say it's the experience that I've had with the tasting room is no different than what you described. It's just a large, well, I shouldn't say large, it's a small community of people that come together, and we all try to make sure that each other are successful. It's not uncommon for people to come in and ask us where else they should visit. And I think everybody does a really good job talking about the other wineries and what they have to offer.
Yeah.
Which I
And-
could do a shout out for that real quick. I
Yeah.
noticed Los Millix and Rune are both voted for like best wineries in the US by USA Today.
Yeah.
So
Oh, cool.
We're gonna get on there next time.
should get out and vote.
Yeah.
They're great
Oh,
places.
we've been to Rune.
Yeah.
We've been
Yeah,
there.
we've been to Rune. Los Millix is on the list. There's a few that we still need to go to. We need to go see you guys too.
Yeah.
But yeah, just our days off, usually we're doing this. So it's just like, when can we go out there? Do you guys are people able to stay at the tasting room? I know some wineries, especially like Rune, do offer that. Do you guys offer that? Are you looking to do something like that sometime?
You mean
people-
stay
Like,
as in
people
lodging?
yeah, like they can like have like, a motel
Yeah.
kind of thing.
It's a casita.
Dos
We don't-
Cabezas, I
yeah,
think does.
we
yeah.
don't offer anything like they do at Los Millix. They have their casitas, and
Okay.
Dos Cabezas has some Airbnbs, etc. There's a very nice motel in the area called the Sonoyta Inn, but there are a number of Airbnbs as well. So, and people often do that. They come down for the weekend if they're not local, and they'll rent an Airbnb, and then it gives them the opportunity to enjoy the area for more than just a day. They have 2 days to do it or so before they head on home.
Okay, very nice. Yeah, because I'm always curious about that too. Is what's around, and just anyone that hasn't been down there yet that's listening or watching this, they can go, oh, cool. There's something really close, and you don't have to worry about like driving there, and then we're drinking, and then I'm driving back. We can stay somewhere close and all that. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I say, there's a number there. There are some of the vineyards that even do harvest host, much like Bar and Kale do at the vineyard, their vineyard.
okay,
Yeah,
nice. And do you have a wine club?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
We
called
do, and I'm proud to say that we've been able to grow that considerably, I think
Yes, absolutely.
in the 4 months that we've been open. And again, it just goes back to what I said earlier, where people really love the wine and they want more of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, we call it the pack. Anyone can sign up. It's really easy. I think that's hopefully a good selling point, Jan. I mean, like you said, you guys have sold a lot of memberships. You can go to the tasting room and have free tastings. You get a discount on the wine. We do 3 shipments a year, but we're gonna, as we pick up into the tasting room, right? Maybe we'll have some events there now that we have that space. But we usually just do our most recent wines. Maybe it's 3 wines. We might do some library wines sometimes, but I'm the one that manages it. So it's super easy. If you're like, well, I don't really want that one. I want something else. All right. We just change it.
Okay.
So
Yeah, because I was gonna ask, can you do like mixtures if you
Yeah.
want just reds, or if you want ripe
Yep.
whites and reds, rosé, whites, anything like that? Okay.
yeah, we don't really have people sign up for just reds, just whites, only because at this point, before we'd only had 1 white. So it's like, okay, well, we
Yeah.
only have that 1 white to choose from. So you mostly get reds anyway. But, for instance, the next one that'll come probably around October, we want to be able to ship because we've got a lot of people that are out of state as well. Would probably have like the new Chard, maybe the new Chardonnay VO blend, and then one of the new cabs. Now, if someone didn't want the whites, they could just say, "Oh, I would rather have these other ones." So
Mhm.
super easy. But we
And
try to
it's
do something new. Sometimes if it works out on the release,
mhm.
we'll maybe try to release it first to the pack members. That doesn't always happen. It just kind of depends on what time of year.
Okay. And I think it's what, 40 states you guys can
Yeah,
ship
I think
to?
it's about 40 states. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
almost everyone.
Mhm.
Even Alabama, which is
Okay.
surprising. There's
Okay.
anybody out there in Alabama.
Yeah, because I have some family in Connecticut, and I'm like, well, they can't ship to Connecticut, so yeah.
Yeah, there's some strange ones. I guess if anyone as they're watching this is encouraged to ask, right? Because sometimes we go through a vendor, they get all the
Hmm.
licenses for us, and I
Okay.
found that sometimes if I ask about a certain state, for instance, Alabama, they say, "Oh yes, but you have to do this extra thing," and so I'll do that
Oh,
extra
okay.
thing.
Okay.
So sometimes there's weird things that are with each state, but
Yeah,
yeah.
as it goes.
Yeah.
Sovereignty of states, right? So.
And sometimes people just cross the border, especially up there. Like, if they're in Connecticut, they go to Massachusetts because it's not very far where I live.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing back east is far from each
Yeah,
other.
no,
So not like here.
no.
I think you can fit every New England state and most of New York in Arizona. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
There you
Yeah,
go.
nothing's far. Not at all. So, and what events do you guys have coming up?
Wow. So couple things that we have in the works. I'm doing this off the top of my head, but like Barb mentioned earlier, we are looking to do some pack events. And pack again is the name that we use for the club. So this would be like a members only event. But on July the 25th, we have two gentlemen that are going to play, and they are Greg Morton and Jim Stanley. Greg has played with people like Chet Aikens in the past, and then Jim is currently playing with the Kingston Trio. Is that a blast from the past? But so we're looking for a good crowd then as we offer live music. Over the summer, we're going to do an event called Rockin' the Cowboy Wine. We haven't locked down the exact date yet. I'm looking to do an event, that's all around Meet the Winemaker. Elizabeth, I'll let you know, of course, once
Appreciate
we have an opportunity to
it.
compare
I'll
notes
be there.
around
She's like, wait,
availability.
what?
But yeah, and then as we move into fall, we're looking to do some bigger events like ticketed music events that would include food and have a number of artists that will be performing. We're always looking for talent. I said
Okay, I was,
earlier,
yeah.
our goal is all about the experience people have at the tasting room, and it's all inclusive. So
Okay.
lots that we're planning for.
And I might have a couple like bands that would be good for what you guys are doing. I can send them your way. I
Super.
can email you guys about it. One of
Great.
it's my old guitarist. He has a blues band. They're always doing gigs and stuff. So I could let him
Super.
know. Yeah, they'd probably be really into doing something like that. So yeah,
Yeah, that
but
would be that would be great. Like I said, we're always looking for talent.
perfect.
Fun.
Yeah.
Good.
Have you thought of having uh Denise's group down there
Oh yeah.
from Divine? She has like a Fleetwood
No, I
Mac thing.
haven't.
Okay.
I didn't know if they would travel. I'll have to ask her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They might do that.
That's a
That'd be
great
kind of
idea.
fun. Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, that'd be
So,
fun.
but
Okay,
if I think of anyone local, especially, I'll send it to you guys if you guys would want some stuff like that. So we'll get you some.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because
Absolutely.
I'm still real big, even though I'm not gigging like I used to. I'm still real big in the local community. I know a lot of
Mhm.
people just from doing it for so many years. So
Love
yeah, I'll send some
that.
stuff your way. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, and
absolutely.
the beauty of it for us is, because this was an office complex, right?
Hmm.
They have the suites all surrounded this beautiful patio that obviously is outdoors. There's a very large fireplace, and the view is second to none because you get
Nice.
to look at the Santa Rita Mountains, and there's nothing between the edge of this property and those mountains. Nothing that you can see, anyways. I'll put it that way. I'm sure there are homes sprinkled in there here and there. And one of the things now, we offer special summer hours and we stay open later because people like to come watch the sunset from
Hmm.
there. And that's why I say, really, it's second to none. It's spectacular. And it just, again, here's that word again, it lends itself to the experience.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we have the greatest sunsets out here
We
anyway.
do.
Yeah.
so-
Yes.
And the
Absolutely.
sunrises too. I mean, there's some
Yes.
great, yeah, just amazing here. So,
Awesome. Okay, so our last questions for each of you. And this is since our podcast is called Drumming Up Conversation and Justin's a drummer. Who are your favorite drummers?
I have an easy one. So my cousin's a drummer,
Okay.
Isaac Parsons. So you guys should
Cool.
go check him out.
cool.
He
I will
plays
write that
for
down.
Forge the Sun and All We Fear. He's got a YouTube channel. So
Very
What
cool.
was the name one more time?
it's called Forge the Sun
Forge
and
the
then
Sun?
All We Fear. But yeah, my cousin.
2 different bands.
2 different bands. Yeah, he's out there. Go
Okay,
check him out.
cool.
Very cool.
Good drummer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
There you go. I love it.
Well, so when you said that, I was like, I don't know, I should think. But the only, I mean, this is probably going to just be something that a lot of people say is I would say the drummer from Def Leppard. I don't know his
Oh
name.
my,
I
yeah,
should
he's
probably
been the
know his
most
name.
said. Yep,
Yep.
Rick
Yes,
Allen.
he's
Yeah.
probably the most said because he's probably the most,
Wow.
you remember him, right? He only has one
Yeah,
arm, he had an
yeah,
accident.
yeah.
Share a quick little funny story. It's, I was, lived back in California with some of my friends and, my friend came out of the house. We were in the pool and I started doing like a one drummer, like a one hand thing. And she was like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, it's Def Leppard. And she's like, why, but why are you doing that? And I said, well, he only has one arm. And she goes, the drummer from Def Leppard only has one arm. And I said, if you knew anything about, that's the one thing you would know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we always say the drummer from Def Leppard only has one arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all in jest.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and when I was actually in a cover band for a while, we did a couple Def Leppard songs, and I would actually put my left hand behind my
Oh,
back
really?
and actually
Probably
play
easier to
one-handed.
play.
Yeah, that's the way to
Yeah.
play it. It's the way it was played, so I'm going to play it the way it was played.
Yeah.
So.
Well, sometimes we do like one arm or two, when you hear a song.
Yeah.
For sure. Jan.
Yeah, so I don't think this is going to surprise Barb in terms of who the band is. And there's a story there too, but Jeff Porcaro from Toto.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh man, one of my favorites.
And
Yeah.
Right.
what's the
And you-
story?
Well, so Barb and Kale and my husband Greg and myself were attending a concert at one of the casinos in Phoenix.
Talking.
And it was a Toto concert.
Okay.
And before we went to dinner at the casino in one of their restaurants, and it was actually there that this idea of the tasting room started. I
Very
mean,
cool.
Kale essentially said, hey, Jen, I had recently retired. My background's in technology, but hey, Jen, would you consider managing a tasting room for us if we put it in the Sonoyta Elgin area? And that's where it started. And that was a year ago, this last March.
Very cool. Awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's really cool. Yeah,
And
very
we're going to
cool.
go see Toto in August.
Yes.
Nice, nice, nice. And rest in peace, Jeff Porcaro. We miss you, man. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, what a legend. I mean, that guy, it's just Rosanna was still one of the toughest songs for me to play. It's a tough song. It doesn't sound like it, but it is. So yeah, he is amazing. So where can our listeners find everything you guys are doing?
Well, certainly at the tasting room
Mhm.
in Sonoyta. We're right at the intersection of 82 and 83.
Okay.
So easy to find. Barb, I'll let you speak to the rest of it.
Yeah. So we got a couple things. So we've got Instagram. So 4 Tails Vineyard. So it's the number 4. And then on Facebook, it's FOUR Tails Vineyard. I don't know why. I thought it was being really cool when I did that. And now it's really complicated. So we're there.
It's going to be awesome.
Is our website. Jan, you have a website for the tasting room too, right?
Sure do. It's 4Tails, FOUR, 4tailstastingroom.com.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Right. And
Instagram.
it
Do you have
links.
an Instagram?
What's that? Sorry.
You have an Instagram for the tasting
We
room.
have an
Yes.
Instagram. I'm in the process of setting something up on Facebook. And I was going to say we link to the Vineyard website on the tasting room website because Barb, people can go online and order, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. You can order right online.
Pick
Right
it up
now,
at the tasting room.
yep. Pick up at the tasting room. Yeah. We're not doing any shipping right now because it's just too blazing hot. But yeah, I mean, pretty simple. So the Vineyard, maybe just to make sure that everyone realizes the Vineyard's down in Pierce. So we're in between the Dragoons, like we said at the beginning, and the Chiricahuas. So really just on the other side of Tombstone. So really very close as a crow flies to the tasting room, right? Maybe 30 miles, but takes about an hour and a half. So a little more remote out here definitely can offer, tours, harvest hosts, things like that. You just need to give us a call. You can find us on those channels.
Okay.
Very cool.
Yeah, and you sign up for the club on the website, correct? If you
Yeah,
wanted to do
just
that.
on the
Okay,
website.
perfect.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing this.
We know
We
you're
yeah, we know you're super
busy.
busy. I know this is
Oh
a
yeah,
busy
you guys are
season for
busy
you.
too.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But we think you, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna thank you for staying on me. Justin's been emailing every month to say, "Are you ready? Are you ready?" But we really wanted to make sure that we had the right time, that we were all set up at the tasting room. Jan has been doing an awesome job just providing that experience. Please go check it out. It's not that far from Tucson, so it's a nice little trip. We're always cooler here, so still
Mhm.
get a little warm, right? We obviously have wind here,
Yeah.
but cooler in the evening. So I imagine that it's in the tasting room is really nice, Jan.
Yeah,
Very cool.
awesome. Yeah.
Awesome.
And it was great meeting you, Jan, Elizabeth, and we've
As
met Barb
well.
before, and it's good seeing you again. And we
Yeah,
will
you as
definitely
well.
try and make a trip out. We need to do that.
Yes.
Actually, it was funny. 2 years ago, we were in Tombstone to the
Oh,
day.
Good
perfect.
day, yeah.
So because they were
That's
doing
right.
a,
Yeah, you could have come right over the mountain.
I know they were doing the 30th anniversary. So like Michael Bean and Billy Zane and all them were
Oh,
out
that's
there.
right. I
So
remember that.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
so that
Yeah.
was fun. So I was like, that's crazy that we're having you on the 2 year anniversary of
Anniversary,
that.
yeah.
So we definitely need to get out there.
Yeah. Well, you have all of our contacts. I'm sure I'll see
Yes.
you at
Absolutely.
Vine somewhere.
Yes.
But yeah, thank you guys so
Of
much. We
course. Yeah,
appreciate
thank
it.
you. Of
Thank
course.
you,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yep.
That was fun.
That was fun.
That was a lot
Yeah.
of fun. Yeah. Man, it's something we've been trying to get to for a while, and you heard at the end too. But they just had a lot coming up, and I get why they wanted to do it because it makes more sense to there. We don't want to be a month away from the tasting room opening, and
Right.
we're like, oh, we should have just waited till then. So I'm glad that Barb kind of wrangled that. And she's like, no, here's what we got going on. She's very communicative about all
Mhm.
that. And I love that because it's like, yeah, we don't want to rush into something and then find out like a month later that this opens. Like, shoot, like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
kind of too early to have them back on.
Or they
But
hit a snag in the road and then things are delayed or whatever.
yeah, that too. And we've done that because that's happened before.
Yeah.
And so we're glad that she did that. And again, I want to thank Barb too for um, bringing Jan in a little bit earlier
Yeah.
because we had the tasting room stuff coming up, and it's like I just wanted to find out how to get that in there and everything. But I was glad that she asked her some questions as well because she knew where we were going with the conversation and
Right.
everything
Yeah.
too. And
Yeah.
there's always a rhyme and a reason for it, and sometimes it goes off the rails, and that's great. I prefer that. There's sometimes I'll look back and like shit. There's like 4 questions we didn't even get to, but we kind of answered them. We kind of
Right.
didn't,
Right.
and that's
Yeah.
fine because it's having conversation. After once it gets going and everything, like finding out Elizabeth was an engineer and the math and how that equates into that was really
The one
cool
that uses math.
for wine.
Yeah.
I'd have to do it before I start drinking. I'm not doing math during or after.
Yeah,
So no,
yeah.
but that's a lot of fun. They're oh my God, they're so good.
Oh, and kudos to really to any winemaker because man, it really is. I've said it before. It's a labor of love, and man, it is.
And it's still great that every single winery we've had on there always talks about working with the surrounding wineries. No one said, "Oh yeah, no, we just do it on our own. We don't really." No one has ever said that since they've been
Yeah,
on here. Everyone's like, "No, we
exactly.
talked to this Callahan and these people, and we always
Got grapes from this.
this one, and we
Yeah,
let
yeah.
we let them know where we got it from. But it's all local, and it's like that's super important.
Mhm.
Like it's fine that you're getting grapes from other vineyards, especially starting out. I get that.
You
There's one
kinda
that
have to.
yeah, there's one that Andrew just introduced us to that he's picking up that he wants to share with us when we get there Thursday, and they're just starting out,
Uh-huh.
and they're using other vineyards grapes, but
You have
just
to. You kinda
and
have to.
that and it's again it's the community thing. They're going, hey, try these out, see what you like. Before you plant the ones you're thinking of planting, like they're probably think, oh, we'll do Merlot because it's this. Like, no, try this instead. This actually does better out here. It tastes better, and it does this and it does that. So here, try some of these, see what you like before you plant a bunch of these other ones. And that's just the great thing
Oh,
about
and I
it.
really liked hearing the whole buttery Chardonnay thing, that it's really not
Oh yeah, because
well-liked
we'll
thing.
go to
that-
grocery stores all the time just to see if they have anything local. And
Yeah.
sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But all we're saying is, oh, buttery Chardonnay. It's like, eesh.
Pass.
That's just, what are you gonna eat it with popcorn? Like,
Right. Yeah.
so, but yeah, no, that's really cool that Jan feels that way now. Because I mean, we're Arizona wine snobs, and this is as far as we're concerned, Verde Valley, Cottonwood, and all of like really southern
Southern.
Arizona is wine country as far as we're concerned.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
I mean, we lived right in the heart of some of what they say the best wine in the world is. We couldn't drink some of it because it just
we couldn't.
wasn't good. It's too acidic. It was just, it seemed like they just like, oh, we'll just put it out in a bottle and just sell it. Who cares? And then here it's like, no, we care.
A lot of them, you'd get kind of an earthy smell and taste.
And some of
that's
them, it just
when
didn't
put
have,
through
it was just flat.
Yeah,
A lot of
yeah.
them, and then the whites, especially, I was like, I just can't do whites. And it took me a little while here just because I had that in my, and then once we had Viogniers and the Chardonnays and all those out here,
Yeah.
it's like, whoa, okay,
Yep.
never mind. Like,
Game changer.
and I will not be putting ice cubes in the wine anymore.
No, we do put
Generally,
glasses in the freezer.
we do put glasses in the freezer.
And maybe if the wine hasn't chilled enough, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now I'll just start using the whiskey cubes that I
Mhm.
have, and they're just cold. They're like big ice cubes. So
Yeah.
sorry, Barb. Didn't know that was a faux pas. I will never do that again. So thank you. See,
Live and
learn something new on this one too. We're always learning at least one new thing every vineyard we have on. So thank you again, Barb, Elizabeth, and Jan. It was great meeting. I mean, we've known Barb for a while, and she's always great. But it's nice meeting Elizabeth and Jan. Just a fun conversation. I love talking wine. It was a little early for us to really start getting into it because we didn't have any whites either. And then we'll just go because we have a wrestling event tonight we're hosting, and we're actually doing. I'm glad we did this because I'd be on Instagram getting it ruined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm looking, and we don't have any whites. And after seeing her drink her white, I really want a white.
I know. As soon as she said Viognier, I'm like, oh, come on. This is a touch screen computer. Let's just, here, can I just grab that from you?
But
Yeah.
3 years ago, absolutely no way. No way I would have a white.
Yeah, and they brought it up in the episode. If it wasn't for Theron, rest in peace, man. We miss you so much at Eridus introducing us to and letting us know too. He felt the same way about a lot of the whites that you can't get past the smell, and he introduced us to 3 or 4 whites, and that just changed us right there. And then every time we see Viogniers anywhere, we just grab them.
That Malvasia Bianca. Yeah.
I like and she even confirmed that it's whites for red drinkers.
Yeah.
That's crazy because Viognier is my favorite white. It's really I'll drink other ones from here too, but Viognier. If I'm just like not feeling the heaviness of a red, like I'll just do that. And that's funny that she said that, and I'm like that's crazy because I've always been just a red drinker. Yeah. So thank you again. We appreciate it.
Like you said.
And shout out to Kale as well.
Yes.
Because we don't, he wasn't in the conversation, but thank you as well for having another winery out here. And we definitely need to get down there. We'll just schedule something with the kids soon and just get down there. Hell, my boss might even go with us.
Maybe.
He's always talking about, like, I'll just say, hey, man, we're going to go down. You want to go with?
Yeah.
We're going to go Saturday, and, whatever.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, intro and outro music is provided by Arizona prog metal band Temporal Displacement. You can find their music anywhere you listen to your favorite music, and don't forget to check out the latest album. If you have any questions, email us at drummingupconversation@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Drumming Up Conversation, and on X at Drum Conversing. Listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Watch the video on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, download, give us a rating, give us a review, add some comments, and tell a friend.
Yeah.
Please.
And
Thank you.
definitely, Four Tails and, any go to their website, become a member of the club.
If you're local, go to Divine. It is available at Divine.
It is. Yeah, it is available at Divine, and Andrew's great. If he's there and you see him, if you don't know what he looks like, just watch. Or no, we don't have that on video. Nope, sorry. We will be soon though. Sorry, I'm forgetting which ones we did. We did that one in studio essentially.
Yeah.
Studio. Yeah. Go ahead and just go to Divine Gourmet. and look him up. And if you see Andrew while you're there, just ask him what he
Yep.
recommends and what your palate is, because he helped us out a lot early on. That's how we met him. He just was helping us, when we were there, and he happened to be there. But definitely go on the website, check him out, go visit them, get some of their wine. Like they said, they have 40, I think it was 40 states listed that they can ship to, but maybe it's just an extra paper or signature or something on something, they can probably send it off to you. And like she said too, anyone in Connecticut, because I know I have some Connecticut listeners.
Yep.
Go to Massachusetts and just get it delivered there.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
or Rhode Island, I don't remember if that was on there or not.
Yeah.
So,
Very cool.
Drumming Up Conversation, I'm Justin Wood.
I'm Andrea Wood.
No mercy.
Drumming up conversation.